Hello everyone, my name is Gregory Moore. I'm a realtor here in Middle Georgia. Today I'm going to be talking about VA loans from start to finish. VA loans from start to finish. If you are a veteran or you are a member of the military, I hope you will listen along. I have some very helpful information for you today. The biggest thing about VA loans is the fact that no down payment has to be made. No down payment has to be made. However, you still do have to pay for closing costs. We will get to that in a minute. But no down payments. So that is a significant amount of money that you save. If your down payment is 3% on a $200,000 house, you're saving $6,000. And if the price goes up, so on and so forth. So that is wiped out. And so that makes it much easier for veterans and military personnel to afford a house. So let's get started. The first thing, before you do anything, there's something you need to do yourself. And you can go online and do this. You have to have two documents. You have to have your certificate of eligibility, your COE, certificate of eligibility. And you can get that from ebenefits.va.gov, ebenefits.va.gov. And your certificate of eligibility says that you have served during a time of war for 90 days consecutively, or during a time of peace for 120 days. If you're in the National Guard or Reserves, then you need 6 years of service. And so then you have to have that verified. Second document you need to have before you do anything else is your DD 214, and that certifies that you have been honorably discharged. You've been honorably discharged from the service that you were in, and you got to have those two documents, your COE and your DD 214. You can also qualify if you have been discharged medically. If you had a medical event that prevented you from serving, you can also qualify for the VA loan. And you can get your DD 214 honorable discharge certificate from archives.gov. Archives.gov. Go to that website and you can get that done. So now, that's the first step. So you have your DD 214, you have your certificate of occupancy, your COE. The second thing you're going to do is you are then going to call a lender. You're going to call a lender. But let me back up just a half second. First of all, before you go to a lender, make sure you have 2 years of W-2 wage earning statements and 2 years of tax returns. 2 years of W-2s or 1099, whatever you have, and you need 2 years of tax returns. They're going to need that. You also want to need 2 months of bank statements. Go ahead and get all that before you go see a mortgage lender or you go down to your bank and talk to a mortgage lender. 2 years of W-2s, 2 years of tax returns, 2 months of bank statements, and as we already said, you need to have your COE and your DD 214, and we already discussed that. So have all of that ready so when you go down there, you can get the process started. Next, once you have all that and you hand that over to the mortgage lender, then they are going to take more information from you, and they've got to get a record of your credit score. And so then they're going to search the database and they're going to get your credit score. And you need to have a credit score of at a minimum 620, and so that you can qualify. Also, you need to have a debt to income ratio of usually not more than 41%. I have heard that some banks might approve up to 50%, but 41%. And that means that 41% of your monthly income, you cannot have more than 41% of your monthly income going to expenses, okay? So let's just say you made $10,000 in a month. You can't have more than 4,100 going towards expenses. You got to have some room there to pay the mortgage once the loan is approved, okay? So you got to have a credit score minimum 620. The good news is no down payment. I want to mention that again. No down payment. But if you want to, you can make a down payment. Why? Because it will lower your monthly payments. It will help you to pay the loan off earlier than without making a down payment. Now, those who qualify not only have the information that we already discussed so that you can qualify for the VA loan, but here's another piece of information you need to know. Um, it's only for first time VA home loans, okay? Those applying for a VA loan for the first time, or secondly, someone who has applied for a VA loan before and has paid it off. Yes, you can go back and you can apply again. You cannot use a second VA loan to buy rental property or property for your children or whatsoever. So, first time home VA loan borrower, or you paid off a VA loan that you've gotten before already. Okay? There is no limit on the loan amount that you can get. You just have to qualify for that amount. So you can't go out and buy a $500,000 house if you only qualify for $300,000 pre-approval from your mortgage lender. And you can go to any mortgage lender. Most of them will do VA loans. You can go to a bank and they will direct you to their mortgage lender there in the bank. Okay. The other thing about applying for a VA loan is that it has to be your primary residence. You cannot buy it as a vacation home. You have to live there primarily. Okay. You cannot just buy it and say, oh, I own another house, so I'm going to live somewhere else. You have to live there, and it has to be your primary residence. When you apply for a VA loan, you're going to hear about something called the funding fee. I want to clear that up for you. The funding fee is basically what you pay to get a VA loan. Okay, it's 0.5% up to 3.3%. To make it easy, is that if you buy a house of $100,000, they charge you 3%. Okay, you're going to pay $3,000. That's not a lot over 30 years, but you do have to pay the fee. Just want to let you know. Many times people will take that fee and just finance it into the mortgage payment over 30 years, which would be very, very minimal increase in your payment. But you can pay it up front if you like. Now, there are some people who are exempt from the funding fee. If you are a Purple Heart recipient, you are exempt. Okay? If you are a disabled veteran, you are exempt. Thirdly, if you are a surviving spouse, you are exempt from that funding fee. So that could be a savings of anywhere from $3,000 maybe up to $6,000 depending on the price of the home. So you've got your COE, you've got your DD 214, we've talked about that. You've gotten your W-2s, your tax statements for 2 years. You've gotten 2 months of bank statements and any other information the mortgage lender asks you for. And they have now said, we have pre-qualified you, let's hypothetically say, for a loan of $300,000. Once you've got that letter, the fun part starts. You can go now and look for homes within your loan limit. That meaning $300,000 and below. Yours might be 400,000, 500,000, could be 200,000, but whatever the loan limit is, that's what you should go and shop for. So you've got that letter. Now you're shopping for homes. Find one that you like, and you make an offer on the home. Okay. So the seller likes your offer, likes the price you're offering, and you agree on the price of the home. And now you both sign the offer, and you have an official contract to buy a home. You have an official contract to buy the home. Once you have gone under contract, the next thing you need to do is you need to get a home inspector. You don't have to, but we always recommend that you get a home inspector to inspect the home. Why? Because you don't know if there are issues with the electrical panel, you don't know if there are issues with the plumbing, if you don't know if there's issues with the roof or issues in the attic. It could be any number of things that an inspector is going to quickly point out that you would never see with your eyes because you don't have trained eyes as an inspector may have. So he will share that report with you. If everything is good, um, then you're ready to move forward. If there are some repairs that he recommends that need to be made, you can then share that with the seller and negotiate how much he will repair. And if you can come to agreement on that, then you can move forward with the purchase process. So, okay, you've gotten pre-qualified, you've found the house that you like, you've agreed on the contract, you've gotten the home inspection done, and next your bank is going to send out an appraiser. An appraiser, for the most part, is going to assign a value to the home. In other words, they're going to determine what the home is worth based on perhaps the houses around it, location, the condition of the house, any upgrades on the house that the seller has made, and they're going to assign a value. The goal is for the value to be at $300,000. They are only going to loan you what the appraiser says the value of the house is. So let's just say, for hypothetical sake, he says, yes, this house is worth $300,000. There's no other issues, so we can move on. The other thing that the appraiser is going to do is going to make sure the house is safe, that it is sanitary, that it is solid. In other words, you can have loose railings on a deck or loose railings going up the stairs. You can't have dangling wires from the ceiling or dangling wires up under the sink that might catch fire. Okay, it's got to be solid. The foundation's got to be solid. You can't have cracks in the wall, so on and so forth. So he's going to make sure it's safe because the VA wants you to have a safe, solid, sanitary house. They don't want you to be buying a dump. I don't think you want to buy one, but they are there for that as well. At the end of those 30 days, you go to what is called a closing. And basically, you go and sign all the documents. And in a nutshell, transferring ownership from the seller to you. You now become the home owner. Congratulations. That's VA loan from start to finish. I want to mention one other thing, and that is this, that if you ever run into financial difficulties and you have a hard time or you're struggling to pay your mortgage note at the end of the month, you can also call the VA mortgage assistance or go Google VA mortgage assistance. They will actually also help you in a time of financial crisis to help you keep your house until you can get back up on your feet. All right. Well, my name is Gregory Moore. I hope this helps a lot, and that if you were wondering if you could afford a house, you can. No down payment. Go check out VA loan. Take a look at some of my information in the descriptions, and I'll be glad to help you and direct you to someone who can help you get a VA loan as well. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.